Sure, go ahead. So we're out at the Capitol today for Lobby Day. What brings you guys out here, and where are you guys from?
I'm from Austin, Texas. I'm a Republican precinct chair on the east side. I'm out here because I really believe in gun rights. It's actually not safe for me to walk in my community lately. I've been in the area for a long time, so I know the homeless population. And to me, I feel like they're sending in the homeless from other places because these new homeless people, they're from different gangs. They're forming new gangs. It's really dangerous. And so I have four kids that I homeschool, and it's just not safe for me to walk down the street. So that's why I'm here.
Absolutely. What's one piece of advice that you can give to anyone that's just getting started?
Just show up. Just do it. There's always going to be people there to lead you in the right direction or help you out. Just show up. That's all you have to do.
And what is your EDC?
What does that mean?
What are you carrying?
Oh, I don't know. I prefer not to disclose.
Oh, well, we can see. It looks like a SIG, I think.
Yes, sir. It depends on what I'm wearing.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you.
So don't mess with her.
No.
Absolutely.
All right.
Are you ready? Okay, so the reason I'm here is I've had several occasions where a gun would have protected my life, and someone was almost murdered from people who broke down the door and everything else. And the only way that I lived is by the grace of God. I was stuck in a second-story apartment, no escape out back. I know to plan to live that way where you could get out if someone came in and go and get away, but God forbid I needed it. Right now, my big purse, I walk down the street and I have a right to conceal a gun and carry it. Nobody knows. The bad guys aren't going to go by the rules.
What's your everyday carry?
I'd rather not say.
It's a pistol.
It's
a pretty one.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's always good to see our armed ladies.
What is this going to be on, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, it's the Texas Gun Rights channel. I guess they'll be on the YouTube. And mine's on Texas 2A Attorney.
Yeah, that's exactly why you're like.
I'm the Texas Gun Rights Attorney. So,
Okay, awesome.
yeah.
CJ, do you want a mic, or do you want to just do that?
I can just, I can share with him.
Give him the mic? Yeah,
Yeah.
do that. Or
I'll
you can
just-
just put it in his. Perfect. Thanks. All right, let's go see. Thank you, ma'am. See if we can get the state police.
There you go.
You should have really put it in your camera. Go ahead. It's because. We've got POI if y'all want us to go fix them.
We're just doing like man on the street stuff. Yeah, nothing. All right.
I can actually call them and see if they're in this area. No worries. Thank you.
How about this young couple here? Or we getting? Can y'all do a quick interview? All right. Well, Kyle.
Hey, Kyle. So we're out at Texas Gun Rights Lobby Day. What brought you guys out here, and what are you guys hoping to see this session at the Capitol?
Because we believe in gun rights, we believe in the individual right to keep and carry arms. You know, it's written into the Constitution, and there's nothing but total clarity about the Second Amendment. You know, it does not mess around. It states what rights you have, and those are inalienable.
It's a beautiful song, ain't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, let me ask you this. So, you know, you're here at this event. Obviously, there's a lot of people carrying guns around here. How does that make you feel?
A lot safer.
Yes, very safe.
I love it.
All right, good.
No,
I was gonna say, do you have an everyday carry that you like?
I don't carry every day, but I'm well on, put it that way.
Okay.
If I have a house break in, they are not going to survive it.
That's good, because then you don't have to worry about it down the line. So
I had somebody ask me once, what do you do for home security? And I said, well, I have a very grouchy owner, me, armed with a 20 gauge shotgun. And if somebody breaks in the house, they're not going to break out.
what about Biden's advice? Just put 2 through the door. Then you don't have to worry about them breaking in.
Well, I would say something about wanting Biden out the door, but that's been taken care of.
Well, thanks for coming out today.
Fun fact: it's actually illegal to shoot through your door.
Appreciate your time.
Well, oh, hang on. Oh, I just missed it.
Sorry.
What's
I
that?
apologize.
What's that?
If we missed that.
Oh, no, you're all right. Leads to the Texas. One state under God and indivisible. Woo!
Thank y'all.
I think I have to go up there.
That was great, dude.
Good enough contact.
Before, you want to say, hey, I'm Kyle Rittenhouse and I'm CJ.
Yeah. Hey, yes, ma'am.
Saleshire.
How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Thanks for coming out. Oh, you're not?
People asking what they're doing.
I couldn't
Find out
find
if
the
they're wearing
group
a
this morning. The
firearm,
communication
See how
was
to become a good activist.
Oh, yeah, we were over the TEJ.
yeah. And what does that mean to somebody who
Oh,
lives in
true.
Bryan?
Yeah, that's true.
And I emailed Chris a couple of times, tried to verify that I could go in any building with anything
Hey guys, we hope you
with
guys
my
enjoyed the
handgun.
interview.
Yeah.
Please like
Couldn't
and subscribe.
verify, so I went all the way around to the west entrance
Oh,
this
okay.
morning and climbed the stairs.
Oh,
But I got a chance to meet with my representative, and
okay, well, good.
you know, I don't find Fran Rhodes to be a role model. I don't find Kyle Rittenhouse to be a role model. I would like to meet Diana Muller, but
Okay.
Let's try to
and I'm
just.
parked in a private parking lot. So.
Oh, gotcha. If I can get my cart off the ground. Okay, well, it's good seeing you. Thanks for at least coming. I got to go up here because I think I'm getting ready to
You're gonna
speak. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm Chief Communications Officer at Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. We're a nationwide company. 3G, 4G are on all three major networks. The difference with us is that we give a portion of every dollar we make to four pillars, and that is the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the sanctity of life, and we support our military and our first responders. We are here today to advocate for the right that if it went away, we would have none of the other rights. Because an armed citizenry is called citizens. A disarmed citizenry are called subjects. Are we ever going to let them take our Second Amendment rights away in Texas?
Hell no.
Do we compromise or what? Well, at Patriot Mobile, we take the Second Amendment seriously. We know that the rights that shall not be infringed, those words shall not be infringed mean something. It doesn't mean we compromise. It doesn't mean we let people chip away our right to protect ourselves and our family, both from dangerous criminals and from tyranny. As I said earlier today, I love hunters, I love red meat, but the Second Amendment isn't about hunting. The Second Amendment is to have a citizenry that can defend freedom. And that militia is every citizen in the United States, and they are standing before me today. This group of patriots, I want to thank you guys. I know you're like me and you get up at 4 a.m. down here, and I just appreciate you so much. This is what America is about. We know that red flag laws are unconstitutional. They take away your due process because as an American citizen, you have the right to a jury, and you have a right to a court trial before any rights are taken away. Red flag laws fly in the face of that. And in fact, what a lot of people don't know is you don't even have to be accused of a crime to be the victim of red flag laws and having your Second Amendment rights taken away. As a woman who knows the difference between a man and a woman, I know that men's muscle mass and bone structure is much stronger than mine. And I hope I never have to use it. But if I do, I and my police officer dad make sure I was well trained and had all of the safety rules and regulations. And I'm confident that defending myself is something I'm equipped to do. And as an American, I have a right to do it. One of the bills we're supporting today is protecting us civilly. Because as Kyle Rittenhouse here may tell you, even though he was found not guilty in a court of law, he is still facing years and years and multiple millions of lawsuits civilly. One of these bills we need to pass in the Texas House is once you are deemed innocent, that you had to, if you had to use your gun to defend yourself, that you were justified in the stand your ground law to protect life, that then people can't come back and drag you through the courts year after year after year, trying to take all of your money away and making you the victim of the system. We're going to change that in Texas this session. It's my pleasure as the Chief Comms Officer at Patriot Mobile. I get to do this fun stuff for my job. And I get to meet a lot of really cool people. And Chris McNutt, I have met several times before Patriot Mobile, but we have worked together on so many things. And at Patriot Mobile, before we give money to organizations, we make sure they are doing the work. Because how many know there's one person? They are doing the work as a real deal. And we are so thankful for Chris McNutt and his team. Please give Chris a warm welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are y'all doing? Today, we're here to talk about our main legislative priorities here during this legislative session. And of course, the number one for Texas gun rights and all the members and supporters of Texas gun rights is to ban red flag gun confiscation laws. So if you have one of these flags, go ahead and wave them right now. As you just heard from Ms. Wamsgans, these shred due process, and there's not a single red flag law or style law that should be allowed to happen in this country as we have the Second Amendment. I do want to go ahead and point out a few of our legislative allies that have joined us today. Back behind us, we've got Representative Shelley Luther.
Yeah, Shelley.
We've got Representative Andy Hopper.
Andy.
We've got Representative Wes Verdell, who is the former GOA State Director.
Hey, Wes.
So I think our gun rights are going to be safe with Mr. Verdell. I don't know. That's just my personal feeling. Then, of course, we've got Representative Mark DeRazio here.
Mark!
Constituent from San Antonio.
Great dude. Great guy. Great guy. One of the few good ones.
And then I also just wanted to thank you one more time to Patriot Mobile. This event would not be possible without the generous support of Patriot Mobile, bringing gun rights activists together from all across the state, so that way we can advocate for your rights here in the Capitol. Yeah, doing these things outdoors is a little bit difficult sometimes. But I want to introduce Lee Gibson. She is the State Director for Gun Owners of America, recently replacing Wes Verdell. Lee, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you. I just want to, again, on behalf of Gun Owners of America, especially here in the state of Texas, thank you all for making this effort to be here to protect our Second Amendment. Again, it is truly the grassroots that makes organizations like Gun Owners of America successful. We depend on you to join us, and I do ask you, if you need to consider your cell phone carrier, please, again, consider switching to Patriot Mobile. I do have a tagline: if my mom can do it, anyone can do it. She did call after she switched and said that was the nicest person that called, gave me her personal number to check back with me. So I do want to tell you, when you switch to Patriot Mobile, you are going to get a hug, and you are going to have really, truly great people on your side. This is a great day. This is a coalition. We can't do these things by ourselves. Again, we need all of you. So I just want to say thank you again. Wes Verdell did just come out of the Capitol and say to me that people are talking. They are seeing a Trump slump. So this crowd is actually impressing a lot of people that we're turning you all out today. And in a few moments, you'll go inside and meet your legislators and let your voices be heard. So thank you for coming again today.
And another one of our champions just arrived that you'll hear from in just a few minutes, but Senator Bob Hall has arrived. But right now, I'm going to introduce you to a great friend and patriot. I believe he's a life member or a monthly member of every gun organization that is represented here. But that's Lieutenant Colonel Alan West.
Good afternoon. Thanks so much, Chris, and thanks to everyone that is here. I want to thank Gun Owners for America. I want to thank the National Association for Gun Rights, Texas Gun Rights, Women for Gun Rights. You know, there are some other rights out there, not just the ideological rights that the left tell women about, but it's the right for women to be able to protect themselves against the criminal elements here in this country. And then also Patriot Mobile, another great organization. You know, you're here today because this is what it means to live in a constitutional republic. And you have my permission. The next time someone says America is a democracy, you can just slap them across the face.
Right there.
Courtesy of Lieutenant Colonel Alan West. But being here in the state of Texas is very unique. We all know about the Second Amendment, what it says. A well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state. Therefore, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. But when you walk into that Capitol, you need to know what the Texas state constitution says in your Bill of Rights. And let me read it to you so that when you go in there, you meet these legislators, and some of these legislators here, you can remind them what it says. It says this, Article 1, Section 23, Texas State Constitution and your Bill of Rights. Every citizen shall have the right to keep and bear arms in their lawful defense of himself, that means you too, ladies, or the state. But the legislature, by law, is to regulate the wearing of arms with a view to prevent crime. It doesn't say anything about red flag laws. That doesn't prevent crime. It doesn't say anything about gun-free zones. That doesn't prevent crime. It doesn't say anything about lawsuits being brought against a person who is able to defend themselves, because that's what you're supposed to do. Keep and bear arms in the lawful defense of yourself or of your state. We should not have these civil prosecutions against people. And the other thing is that if I am a gun owner, a legal law-abiding citizen in the state of Texas, and I buy a suppressor that was manufactured here in the state of Texas, that should be my business. I should not have to go and ask for a mother may I, a tax stamp, or any of these other things. So it's so important that you understand what type of laws should be made in this building when it comes to your protection of yourself and also your state. That's a grave responsibility that you have. And I think it's a responsibility that each and every one of us should understand, in this being the 250th anniversary of the Battle of Lexington.
Yeah.
When everyday ordinary people came out of their homes, came out of taverns, and they did something that was extraordinary. If you think that after 250 years,
is his mic coming
we would still be here fighting for the right to be able to protect ourselves, I would not believe it so. But that's why we need you here. That's why we need these organizations. That's why we need the right type of legislators that don't want to disarm people, because, as Lee said, a disarmed individual is a subject. An armed individual is a citizen. Our founding fathers meant for us to be citizens. So God bless you all for being here. Go in and remind them that you have that right to keep and bear arms in your lawful defense of yourselves and of your state. And the only laws they should be making is about how we wear our arms and prevention of crime. God bless you all and thank you.
Yeah.
And as y'all can see, we've got a busy day at the Capitol today, so I think that that's probably making Representative Kane run behind, who, as you know, is our champion on banning red flag laws. So since we've got Senator Bob Hall here already, I would like to introduce you to him so he can talk about his effort to strike back at the State Fair, Texas.
Hey guys, let me know
that is ending, that would prohibit gun-free zones on public property.
This past year, for the first time in several years, I refused to go to the Texas State Fair for one reason and one reason only. They had banned our right to protect ourselves.
Okay, good.
There. They took away our Second Amendment right by private enterprise. So this session, I have filed Bill 1065 that will prohibit any government agency entering into a contract
SB
with a private
1065.
company, to enter that contract, they must have a clause in it that prevents them from issuing any kind of restriction on our ability to defend ourselves. Our God-given right is not going to be taken away by a few people who decide they just don't want to have the guns around. And it was particularly egregious, in fact, that they used the issue of what happened the previous year when someone smuggled an illegal gun into the fairgrounds through a hole in the fence. And then they want to take our guns away that we carry legally. And they didn't even fix the hole in the fence. Something just doesn't make sense with that. And so appreciate y'all being here today. Hope you get your rep and your senator to support Senate Bill 1065 that will prohibit will require government agencies to include in their contract a prohibition that will allow us to carry under all circumstances. So thank you for being here, and God bless you. God bless Texas.
And now I want to welcome National Association for Gun Rights President. And actually, I just want to make this clear because I don't know that I said this earlier, but Texas gun rights would not exist without the National Association for Gun Rights. And we started off as a long-term project to launch constitutional carry. So with that, I want to introduce the president of National Association for Gun Rights, Dudley Brown.
Thank you, Chris. Happy to be here. You can adopt me, even though I live in Colorado. You can adopt me here in Texas. So you guys did the heavy lifting to pass constitutional carry, and you got it done. It's time to go into that building and ban red flag laws.
Yes.
Just simply put the pressure on every politician in the building. Now, usually I say, if you can't say anything bad about a politician, don't say anything at all. But there are exceptions to that, obviously, and a lot of them are here today. And so, but everybody you talk to in there, you need to have a very coherent and straightforward message. Red flag laws are extremely dangerous to every citizen's rights. You have a girlfriend who didn't like what you did. You went on one date with a gal, and then she red flags you. In fact, many states you can do it via phone. She can call a district attorney, get it flagged. It's not a criminal procedure. It's actually a civil procedure. It's why many law enforcement officers, especially sheriffs, really don't like this. It's dangerous stuff.
Yep.
It also sends people to your house to confiscate your firearms without your knowledge. You didn't have a day in court. You couldn't defend yourself before the judge, and then they come to your door. What are you going to do when someone comes to your door, especially plain clothes? Yeah, I know what most people I know will do. Yeah, they're going to use a firearm to defend their house. Well, they don't even know it. It's a dangerous situation that red flag puts people in, and it's really not needed. Now, here's something I'm betting no one here knew, that the federal money to encourage red flag laws, subsidized red flag laws in the state, which was sponsored in Congress by, this is not an applause line, Senator John Cornyn. Yeah, he did it in conjunction with a Connecticut Democrat senator in 2022 and passed a monstrosity of a bill, one of the most egregious gun control bills in American history. And he did it and gave money to other states. Well, guess who's the second biggest state to take that red flag money? Texas. In 2022 and 2023, it was $21 million. Only California took more money than Texas. Now, that's something for Texans to hang their heads low on. But it's also a reason to go in that building and tell them what you think of that. So one suggestion you tell them is the only red flag that should show up in Texas is the red, white, and blue and the Texas flag.
Yes.
So thank you.
All right, Dudley.
Now I want to introduce my good friend and longtime good friend. It's the only other gun rights group, a national gun rights group I'm a life member of, Eric Pratt.
Yeah, Eric.
Howdy, Texas. How are we doing? Hey, this is a great day for liberty, isn't it? Thank you all for being here. I'm with Gun Owners of America. As Dudley said, we are your no compromise voice in Washington, D.C. We are fighting in the Congress, fighting in the courts, and yes, even here in Texas as well. And if you want to know in a nutshell what GOA is doing, we are defending the Second Amendment all around the country and working to abolish the ATF.
Yeah.
Of course, to do that, that means we're going to have to also repeal a lot of gun control, right? Otherwise, they're just going to give it to the FBI to enforce that gun control, and we don't want that. So we are working to repeal lots of gun control, and many of you are here. I've already met many of you. You're GOA members, you're GOA activists, you're activists with other organizations. You have co-labored with us to do that. And so I want to thank you and just real briefly give you just some of the victories that we've seen recently. So for example, many of you might remember when GOA teamed up with the state of Texas to strike down Biden gun control, right? Remember the pistol-braced firearms ban, yeah? So GOA got a preliminary injunction against that ban, which means from that moment on, if you were a GOA member, if you were a Texan, you are not covered by that Biden gun ban. So how cool is that, right? And then even more recently, there was the engaged in the business rule, and we can thank, and this, as Dudley said, is not an applause line. You can thank John Cornyn for this. He was ultimately the one that set that into motion. But the engage in the business rule effectively imposed universal background checks on the entire country. And I'm sure you guys know, I don't need to tell you, universal background checks is all about universal registration because it's tracking about where each gun goes to each new person. So GOA challenged that Biden gun rule, and in a case that's called GOA and Texas versus the ATF, once again, we had victory in federal court. So that means all our members are free from ATF's registration. All Texans are free from ATF registration. Do you get the feeling that GOA membership has its privileges, right? Yeah. This is awesome. Thank you for your support. So we've been vigorously fighting in the courts. Again, thank you for keeping us on the front lines. And we've been actively fighting in the Congress as well. For example, let me just ask, because it hasn't already been asked, I'm sure we have some veterans here. Raise your hand if you are a veteran. Thank you all so much for your service. Let me tell you, we've been fighting for you up in Congress. I mean, are you tired of the fact that the VA has been sending tens of thousands of veterans' names into the FBI NICS system, right? These are veterans who've done nothing criminal. No, they've only gone for counseling to get help. For their finances, and despite their commitment to our country, what do those anti-gun bureaucrats at the VA say? Thank you for your service. Now hand over your gun.
Sit down. Yeah.
So that's absolutely deplorable. So GOA worked with congressional leaders last year to bring that practice to a screeching halt in legislation. It is no longer being done. Oh, believe me, the anti-gun left is belly aching about this. But we were successful. So right now, the VA is no longer sending veterans' names into the FBI NICS system. So that's fantastic. And, you know, I could go on and on. I'm just skimming the surface right here. There are so many victories that we've accomplished recently, and it's all with the help of you guys, the grassroots. So I am so glad that you're here, because that is the key, that we are working together. We can't do it all alone. It's already been said before, but in the rest of the country, there's this feeling that, oh, Donald Trump won the election, so now we've died and gone to heaven, and we don't have to be active anymore. That is so wrong. And so I'm so glad to see the turnout here today. Remember what Ronald Reagan said: freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. Our founding fathers had to fight for their freedom on the battlefield, didn't they? They had to fight their own government, and it was bloody. very, very bloody. Thankfully, that is not what we are having to do. Our battle is to work hard to get good officials elected. But once they're elected, we then have a responsibility to keep an eye on them and to make sure that they're keeping their constitutional oath of office. There was a very famous former U.S. Senator who had a very witty way of saying this. He would say, "When I feel the heat, I see the light." And you see, the grassroots pressure does work. And this is why, for example, it's so important to be part of our Minuteman alert system. That's our email alerts. If you're not on it, gunowners.org/subscribe. They're free. We will engage you in the battle federally. The more people that GOA can mobilize, the more pressure that you can put on your elected officials, the louder voice that you have in Washington, D.C., and also here in Austin. So that's how we've defeated gun control in the past. That's how we've gotten good legislation passed. What I was just telling you about, like with the veterans and defunding a lot of the ATF, it's by members reading our alerts and then taking action. So let me just conclude in saying, look, working together, we can take back our rights in DC, here in Austin. Those are our rights that are given by God. And so we cannot compromise, not now, not ever. We have to keep fighting for our rights. So thank you all for being here today. Let's stay vigilant and let's keep working together to restore our republic. Thank you, everybody.
Sorry, guys, my papers came out here.
It looks like Representative Kane got tied up doing the important work inside the Capitol. But before we conclude, I do want to recognize State Representative Carrie Isaac, who has come to join. If you'd just like to say a couple words.
How are y'all doing today? Well, I understand that our Second Amendment is the most important right we have because it protects every other right. I believe it should be the First Amendment. I also understand that gun laws don't work because the only people who obey gun laws are law-abiding citizens. So thou shalt not infringe.
Thank you, Representative Isaacs.
All right, and I do want to make an announcement for those of you that did arrive by bus who possibly didn't get dropped off at the right section earlier today, but the east side of the Capitol, just directly that way, is where your buses will depart later on after you're done passing out the packets in the Capitol. Also, I do want to announce that I know some of you did not receive any of your lobbying packets to drop off your one-pagers and informational sheets to the legislators inside. So we've got extras in this box behind here. And also, before we depart, I did just want to say thank you one more time to Patriot Mobile for helping make this day possible. Thank you to all of the leadership from Gun Owners of America, from flying away from DC to make it down here, as well as Dudley Brown from National Association for Gun Rights, Allison Adams from Women for Gun Rights, and then of course our true patriots at the True Texas Project who help mobilize a lot of these folks. And before we go in the Capitol, if all of the team leaders who are leading groups of folks in the Capitol, if y'all could raise your hands one last time, so that way, if you look around, if there's anybody that you would like to team up with, and as we visit lawmakers in the Capitol, just go to somebody that's raising their hand right now. I lost my team. Follow them around as we disperse our one-pagers. And if you have a license to carry a firearm, you can have expedited entry into the Capitol.
There they are.
On the east entrance. You just give them your LTC. They'll slide your, they'll swipe your ID, and you can bypass security. No line.
Did you tell them about if they don't have an LTC?
No.
If you do not have an LTC, but you're lawfully carrying, you have to go into the west entrance. So if you do not have an LTC, but you're lawfully carrying, go in the west entrance.
All right.
All right, guys, I'm going to cut this off. You guys take care, be safe, be free.
Think so?
Press conference.